I might look back when I'm 80 as a failure if I don't get this done. And then you start being a little more relentless.
Chris Cunningham, one of the founding members of ClickUp, the all-in-one productivity platform that's redefined how teams work.
Beyond building game-changing tools, Chris brings a creative and down-to-earth energy to everything he does, sharing insights and moments that inspire both innovation and balance.
In the early days, we all lived in a house in Palo Alto. But as we grew, I even knew that I wasn't going to be our sales guy forever. I'm getting burnt out.
One of your absolute secret weapons is your ability to maintain relationships by doing right by people.
We were obsessed with making ClickUp work because that was our last move. We didn't have much money left, right? So we were obsessed. Finding a way to make yourself become obsessed. You're not just going to tell yourself every day, oh, I'm going to win. You have to actually find a way to make it a part of your life. My life might not be as good if I don't get this done.
Why are you still working the same way you did when it was like, shit, $3,000 payroll to now 300 million? You're working harder right now. Why? For those that don't know, Chris Cunningham, the band, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, I'm Chris Cunningham. It's been a long journey. I grew up in Martinsville, Virginia, went to Virginia Tech, graduated, went to work at C-Vent. Actually, was my first job. C-Vent was great. It went public. I learned a lot. I was the youngest manager there. And then from there, I decided, hey, man, I want to take some real risk. So I went to go hang out with Zeb out in Charlotte, and he convinced me to come work for him. And yeah, as an agency we started, did really well. From there, we tried to create a social media app called Memory. There's like a Snapchat competitor because Snapchat raised too early. They're way too early. So we lost our money. But we had moved to Palo Alto. We were all living in a house in Silicon Valley. And so from there, we just went to market with this little tool that we had built called Mission Control Center that kind of helped us out when projects, tasks. We hated some people use Asana, some people use Trello, some people use Jira. It was just dumb for us to log into 3 or 4 different tools. We built our own and went to market. I closed our first few deals and our first big deals, and yeah, the company's grown a lot.
So that officially kicked off 2018. I look back at my board now and say 2017. I see when you were literally going out there fixing stuff.
2017 was when we really got to go the first year of building. In 2018, we're getting live. And 2019, 2020, we're starting to get customers.
I think a lot of people don't realize that where your career has evolved because of people don't know because ClickUp is so big. And it is a $4 billion company today. Obviously, you guys just run, in New York celebrating 300 young. They go, all right, that's a hell of a celebration. But back in the day, it was like Zeb locked your room, trying to feed him plates so that he could do the work. And then you literally doing all the calls, all the sales, communicating with the customers, like from sales to customer success to onboarding to the training to getting product feedback. It's not that one-man shop or a small group anymore. It was a big company. What's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, the beauty of it is that the core 4 is still there, right? We're all still there. But it's been a wild journey. See, in the early days, we all lived in a house in Palo Alto. And, Zeb and Alex were the real tech geniuses. They're doing, the tech side and the product side. Wes was doing operations. And I was taking every call I could, doing all the marketing, customer service. So it was a lot, man. It was a lot. And as we grew, there's a lot that's changed. I think the things stayed the same. But as we grew, I even knew that I wasn't going to be our sales guy forever. And I was like, man, I'm getting burnt out. I've been taking hundreds, and it's tough when you're the sales guy and you're the customer service guy, because I might close a deal saying, hey, Gantt chart to be ready in 3 months, and then it might take 6 months, and they're yelling at me.
And then you're setting things up, and you're setting expectations, and when we're going to the backside of Deb, and Deb doesn't always, at the same timelines as sales, but yeah, when you're sales, marketing, client success, people don't realize that you're wearing so many different hats. Well, obviously, you're in a very different role now. You have absolutely become the change agent for the social media space, which is interesting because it's where you started.
Exactly.
Right? I think you're fascinating. But I remember you had kind of strong connections with you were around people that had gym or health.com, the earlier tags. And then you're helping people build their, following counts as connections. How does today, the landscape of social media today, it hasn't changed from a human behavior standpoint, it's just scaled.
Well, I'll hit a couple of things. I worked with Dan Fleischman, Brandon Hampton. We had this elevator studio, so we're running campaigns for Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Thing, and we knew the people who had help for that. All the Babes was kind of like a superpower back then. It's how I got at Cunningham. So that was a cool thing. And then I think when Baby's so lucky is that I realized that ClickUp as a group, I told Zeb, we gotta hire someone over here. I don't even want to be in sales anymore. I want to do what I love. I love content, and one thing I've known, the best lesson I can give people here is that everything that happens in B2C eventually happens in B2B, right? We used to have influencers in B2B, at the start in B2C. Now that's why I jumped on the train for my actors. I saw that B2C was trying to do TV shows, like full-on shows, but in social eat. So why do you think I do the same, right? Every trend I'm seeing out of the B2C, I just sit back and watch it and implement a B2B before everyone else. Does every single one of them work? No, but a lot of them are working well. But the way the landscape's changed now is, think about it, man. Like back when you and I were coming up, Chappelle's show used to drop on like a Tuesday, right? We talked about it the whole week because there was like one episode we got the whole week. So we go into school, everybody's like Rick James, bitch, you know, whatever. Funny episode happened that week. That was just my favorite show. That's why I use an example. We used to get one show and we'd all talk about it for the week. Now we get Netflix series. If Netflix series is inundated with episodes, and it's the same as social media. You used to just a few creators, make a few great pieces of content. Now everyone's making content.
Yeah, and people binge watch things too, so that you don't know where the communication is at the water cooler anymore. Whereas, you know, we got to see Chappelle, me and my wife just recently here in DC. I was like, hey, yeah, it was perfect timing. Yeah, so we got to see him where he opened. This was that was his first big show, and then he closed out there, and that became the big series just recently. How great was another one? Unbelievable, yeah. But they basically like typical, right? Like no phones, lock the doors, and they're like, hey, you got to stay in your sheets because they're doing the show. They're doing taping, you know, they're taping, and they're doing it all formal. It was the talk of the town because it wasn't on social. And it was attached to like a normal part of your cadence. Everybody that was there, they were part of this like exclusive thing because they were a part of this event that obviously you couldn't share those experiences in today's digital space that happened so quickly. So you couldn't collapse time, which I think sometimes is real gaggle at the education level, and it's horrible from a relationship state. Because it's like, well, how do I keep track of all this shit? And then what's important to me may not be important to you right now.
And that goes hand in hand with what I really see the new trend coming. The new trend I see is just more raw, like more real. Like the videos that go viral on TikTok are the ones that like, and sometimes people are still faking, but look like you just snuck your phone up and started taking a video, right? Like if you want to feel like they're like behind the scenes, now, like I feel like I used to really love making these overproduced, like high end, tons of edits, but now people just kind of want to raw feel what you're talking. Like some of the video I see going viral on TikTok are sitting in a, you know, weird looking basement, but they're talking at the top of the wheel start. People start connecting at the. So finding a way to get that real connection rather than overproducing is a new thing I'm seeing. I'm not saying it's hit yet, but I'm starting to see that is possible. It's cool.
Go back a little bit, all right? So you talked about where you're from. I know the town a little bit because it's not too far from here. Plus, mutual friend, one of your good friends, Cody Jernell, came and worked out with me. What turned into like wanted to be a pro player, going through that journey, was going through a lot in his life. And went on, played a couple years in the pros, but I was like, hey, you guys need to connect. And that's where I first met you. And I'm a big believer of like respecting history, respect where you kind of came to be. And Cody helped me create my book. Cody helped me build that content. Cody helped me do my website. Fast forward today, we're getting on his ass to like, hey, Blade, you got to go back and you got to do this.
And he's starting to do it. He's hilarious. He's doing really well. I mean, look, he's crushing the, I love Cody. Shout out Cody.
I love, but he's a pain in my ass at the same time. So I just want to be clear, like, yes, I love Cody. He's a pain in my ass.
It's a beautiful relationship. Yeah, Cody's one of those, I remember he was like living with me at DC and he was trying like insurance job and this and that. I wonder what Cody's going to end up, you know, because obviously I wish football would have worked out. It's tough.
He has a good run, too, I mean.
Great run. More than most anyway. So I was like loving to see him chase that still. And then when he came down to like find his own, seeing him be hitting real estate was hot. And that's another thing, like, I feel like Cody's in the real estate game because he's doing content. Was he's doing in Blacksburg where no one's doing content?
I was gonna say he's the blue. He basically is in that blue ocean strategy. He's like, I'm doing something that no one else is doing. I have a bunch of friends that they're podcasters, right? And do you know where they all go? Podcasting conferences. I'm like, go to a conference that you're the only podcaster. Why are you like? Why are my ideas? Yeah, why am I interesting when I go to business events or corporate events or I'm at, you know, Churchill Downs and I'm with a bunch of friends that own horses and stuff. It's like, I'm the sports guy and I've leveraged sports to business and I've helped people win. I was the only guy that I'm not competing with a bunch of other strength coaches or a bunch of speed coaches or a bunch of football coaches. I'm literally in a room of like, what do you do? It's like, I help people win. What are you all day? Well, like, I'm in the NFL right now. I'm traveling around the world when at the Olympics and they're like, oh, whoa, you're a lot more interesting than I thought. And it's like, I like to kind of be, it's a lot easier if you carve out your market and you're like, I'm just one thing and there's less competition.
Yeah, create the story, man. I think you create a story too. You have a much cooler story than your average podcaster, site build. You know, you have a much better story than most of these guys. And I think that's one of the key, because when you meet some of these conferences, they've heard every little schmink. You know, like Sal probably had not heard, oh, I train NFL play. You know, they haven't heard of that. Now all of a sudden they're intrigued. And then, okay, well, if he can train NFL players, sure he can do business. You know what I mean? Like that's at the highest level. You look back and like I love watching Kobe documentary, any athletes, because like they took their jobs more serious than us in tech. But you might show up and work for 4 or 5 hours. I know these people were like live or die, right?
But well, like, look, the eye in the sky never lies. So like, you know, you can't basically fight game zones. Like the scoreboard, the scoreboard. So you can't be like, hey, you know, I was better than you. Like we did that, I was came. That's why I love fighting, because it's like, well, I'm better than you weren't there today because you kept your ass smacked out. And there's a lot of things that people tend to be emotional, like, well, I'm good. Well, like, wait a second, who determines what good is? And like, that's the benefit of content, is the audience determines what good is. Now, I think behind the curtain, a lot of these people are for a share. You know, and I go behind some of their businesses and I get behind some of their worlds, and I'm like, dude, you're not.
The majority of these ones who are just talking about their business or selling Korea, they're using it's typical. I'm not saying all, but typically, like, I don't know, all the people I know doing well, they don't need to go give their secrets. They might share, but you can tell there's ones who are sharing genuinely. We don't mind giving out anything I'm doing at any time, but I'm not trying to sell you anything.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sell you. They just built a $4 billion company. Get up now. I want you to buy that. Ticket. Buy that though. Keep it cheap, like $9 a month.
I mean, where you're from was such a small town. I joked around with Buddy. I'm like, dude, like, oh, you were all county in your conference as like a running back. I was an all-star kickers. I'm like, congratulations, there's 6 people. You know, like, I didn't know if you were playing like 8-man ball or truly.
Not luck. He's for a little bigger part than I am.
Is he? Oh wow, so you strict country boys. I'm a Miami boy. There's like 9 high schools. We street the same street. Yeah. Oh yeah. So
that's why you're crazy competition though, Friday.
Oh yeah, I'm right there. Because you didn't. A good example growing up, my dad put my brother's 3 years older. He was a hell of an athlete, like absolutely a freak of an athlete, but much smaller than I was. And I was an early bloomer, so I was like 220 as a sophomore in baseball. Right.
I stopped.
Like 110.
I was a grown man like my sophomore year, and my grandfather's like 6'8". I was gonna say your dad's after my dad's short, but right, I thought, oh, I'm gonna be like 6'4". Like I just basically got to a certain point that you stopped. It was like sucked. But what was interesting is because I had an older brother and he had older like friends, I hung around them all the time. So I was getting my butt kicked when I was younger. So then when I got into my environment, I was dominating. Like, it was just no question, no competition that I was better than everybody at the youth level. So my dad put me in the same kind of opposite environments that my brother was in, and I was like the best kid there. I last one day, he's like, boop, I'm moving you over there. You're going over here. And he put me in an environment where I was like,
now I'm in trouble.
Yeah. And I had to like rework my way up. And my dad was like really clear on, if you go to the environment where you're the best, you're never get pushed. So I developed that competitive edge by way of always being in an environment where he put me on the back of the belt, not like all the way to that, but he put me on the back of the belt curve. He was, do you have the work ethic to get over the hump? And then do you have the talent to like double down on it? I mean, if you were going into an environment where you were already good, then he knew I would slack. I was like, I'm gonna be a couple ways.
I can push one arm and knock these guys.
So he was like, nope, that didn't.
But now we have to do it today. You know, same way, like in the same rooms. We shouldn't be in rooms where we're not, like, if we're the best, we need to keep pushing it up.
How do you feel about that, knowing that, so you're still really good friends with people that you kind of came up? You've been able to, one of your absolute secret weapons is your ability to maintain relationships by doing right by people. And I have a thing of like, I help people win, but I want to win the right way. Yeah, of course. Because there's a lot of people that get to the top and then they have to tell their story because they screwed over a whole bunch of people along the way. Being around you for almost a decade now, every interaction, you've interacted with people at a super high level. We've interacted with people that have helped them get there. You've interacted with people that have no names, be very successful. You've been able to maintain relationships. I believe that's one of your greatest gifts. Yeah, without a doubt. It's one of your greatest gifts. Where did that come from?
I think there's the advantage of being from the town of Prom. I mean, it's just who I am. Yeah, my father's that way. I think he always gave me that advice. He had a tire store. I think his big thing was, I worked on that shop and I saw the way he took care of customers. And if a tire messed up, he could have been like, hey, you gotta buy a new one. Now he wouldn't play that. Just give him a new tire. Just took care of people. Always took care of people. And I don't know I think I just started seeing what worked for me. So I think one of the first videos I ever made, I said this, and it still stands true today, is that when I meet someone, typically my brain is already turning because I've met so many people. It's like, okay, I can help Justin by maybe introducing it to this guy, Joe, or, what can help them get better at business? My brain's got to think about that because the easiest thing I can do is send a text message, but the most valuable thing I can do is send a text message. Because I've met that many people. It's literally the best thing I can do for anyone because life works like this, right? Like, as soon as you meet another person, you're into a whole new circle. You're into a whole new mind. You're into a whole new lessons they've learned, skills they have. That is the best thing in the world. That is number one.
And I think it's crazy because like coming from such a small town, one of the last times we're so funny about like the interaction. We're opening up an office in Porto, in Portugal, and we're in Lisbon at the time for Web Summit.
You have an office there now?
Yeah, so I'm in Web Summit, right? So we get there for Web Summit, and it is crazy. You remember like together, it was nuts. I didn't experience, I was at the craziest conference ever. This is like something out of this world, and I'm used to big conferences, but
And I was like, that's crazy.
so I get there, and a friend of mine shoots me a message. I shoot a message. I look at the Qatar soccer booth because they're about to do the whole like the big games there. It's a big deal. So I shoot a message to a friend of mine who's my watch friend, and I'm like, hey, like anybody here I need to meet? And he goes, yeah, that guy. And I'm like, yeah, the guy that's got all the security around him. He's like, yeah, it's my dad. I'm like, oh shit, cool. So I walk through. There's a text message being exchanged back and forth, and there's like full on security vets. Who's his dad? All right, it was a Qatar booth. So I walked right by and literally like split like the Red Sea. Nice to meet you. Boom, boom, boom. He said, call him this. And I'm like, okay, great. Simple text message from a relationship from years ago. And then dead serious, I'm leaving and I see a video of you doing like a podcast show. It lit website. Oh, Dave Nelson. The Dave Nelson. And I had just left with Dave at his breakout booth. And I'm like, I was like 2 seconds away from public cast me because I just left Dave's breakout room right after that happened. Clearly, exactly. And it's like, no matter where you are around the world, like people don't realize how close you are to people. Can you tell? And if you have good relationships, it will make a big difference.
And you know how much easier it is to keep them than to burn them? Like, it's just so easy. Like, it's very hard to keep in touch with everyone, right? But at a point in time I can, I'm very like, I take certain time to do. Sometimes I'll just think about a person. Like, all right, I should send a message, check in, or I should see if I can.
Part of it's your Rolodex. It's a massive. It's the old school.
Out of unread text I have, people have like stressed out. It's long, but at the same time, it's a blessing. Like, I've lived in so many different cities. It's another big advantage, right? I've lived in Charlotte. I've lived in DC. I've lived in Atlanta. I've lived in Palo Alto, San Francisco. I've lived in so many different cities. That I get a crew, and that's why it's hard for me to want to stay in different cities. Like, I've met most people leaving the city.
Yeah.
So why would I go to another?
What's interesting too is I do believe this. I grew up in my.
Mine is crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, see, that's home, right?
So like, you got to get out of home.
Yeah. Well, yes and no, but I knew that I didn't want to raise a family where I grew up.
I'm not always been.
I was very clear with that. I was like, I don't want to raise a family where.
And it's cool when you don't have a family.
Of course. And for me, I was like, you know what? And I remember taking now my wife, but down there to like her first visit, I'm like, hey, listen, like, I was a pretty successful athlete, and I also know a lot of people. Yeah, I was out all the time. I knew a lot of people. We walk into the airport. She's an introvert, super like kind of socially like that. Quiet. We didn't leave the airport without 5 people. Hey, Cal, what's up, man? Where you at? What's going on? I'm just like, yeah, this is normal. This is like this is before social like goes crazy. And I think the power of proximity, people don't realize, is if you get to a city with a bunch of people like-minded, it has accelerated growth.
The friend group I have in Miami is insane. Chris Vasquez, one of my closest friends, founder of Guantu Talent, just insane. We're like once every 2 weeks, we just have dinner. It's just different founders, different people pushing, different. Julius Dean just moved there. We have a crazy network, crazy crew. And what I love is we just hang out. All right, what's your goals? I want to be at 200K a month. All right, what do you got? 140? All right, let's try this. Like, everyone's just like, how are we going to get that? How are we going to get that? Everyone's pushing each other. Everyone's seeing different things. That is insane. So I think one thing is hard is like, sure, I love all my hometown friends and I still will spend time with them when I can. But a lot of my time I am trying to spend with people that have done things I'm trying to get. So I think, it's hard to juggle.
I think that, yes, it's hard to juggle, but I got to commend you. What you've done is, as you've lived and operated with a social group here, you've never burned this bridge, and you've taken care of them. But then you also realize, like, I can't stay here all the time. I have to go over here, and I have to go over there because there's different respect.
I got to. I got to go to Europe. It's like, just going to another country, you learn different respect. Cool, right? Just doing different industries. I love meeting people who are running tech companies over there because it's very different. Like here, we're blessed to get all this funding and all this. They don't have that, right? So they got to hustle and they got to go find a way to make their own 20 million and it's keep profitable. So I've learned so much from, and in some ways that might be better, less stress, less risk. You raise all this money, now you really got to hit. Now we got to go public.
If you remember, about 10 years ago, there was like celebrations and like ski events and parties because they raised money. Yeah, it was the actual celebration where your celebration was like, we fucking made money, we busted our asses, and we did something. But before that, people were celebrating the raise. Yeah, cool. And that was like, we did it. Well, like, we've done anything.
Yeah, I feel like we never, I think one time we We took one little trip after a Series B. That was it, just me and the founders. That was it.
Well, I think it's a little different than like a hoopla. Should bring everybody in and show everybody.
I'm like Adam, like the WeWork guy.
Oh my goodness, yeah. He raised money right after that. After WeWork crashed, he got somebody else to just fund him because it was just a relationship.
You know what? He has the connections. He's done something. We'll see. You know, we have to see what
He's got connections. He's got dirt on somebody. But I
this guy like it. He's got some new project now, and that's what I'm saying. Let's see what happens with it.
Who knows? I mean, he's obviously good. This is the one thing, like Jerry Jones, he's great at borrowing money. And he says that. He's the best. Yeah, that's what he literally like, I know how to borrow money better than anybody else in the world. And I just will work hard enough to get myself out of this.
Every single time. I also like that I'm a Packers fan, so I like that he gifted us Micah Parsons. That we're down.
Did you hear that? They're like, hey, listen, there ain't going to be no coming home party for Michael Parsons.
Yeah, okay.
Well, this was different than Evan Smith. Yeah, it was different. Evan was like, had his greater years of 3 Super Bowls with you. Yeah, you know.
You gave this guy up at his Brian, so let's see what goes down.
So, pretty funny. Now, Emmett had Zem's style back in then. That's what you got from Zem. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, it works for Zem, because a lot of people are like, oh, I've seen your CEO, he wears the crazy clothes. Like, it's smart, because I think they call him the tip of the tongue test. So right now, who is that angry chef, blonde, who's always yelling at people on TV? Or the other, I think it's one of the other, but usually if you say somebody down and you know their name, like if I said crazy guy, crazy I forget the other guy's name now I forget his name. But either way, if you can start saying 3 things and off to the tongue, you know who they are, then they've done their brand here. And I'm realizing I haven't done that yet. Like I gotta figure out mine. Like stop.
Well, my favorite campaign that you ran, and this was classic because I was making an introduction to Armand at Search Atlas, which runs like a big SEO company, and they'd done a really good job. And they're like, Cav, you told us 100 times that we got to switch to ClickUp, and they're on some abomination of a platform.
Sure.
And he's like, you've told us 100 times, and then I finally showed it. It's like, you don't understand. You have to do this. You got to do it. And I tried to make a connection, and they were at the sales for Pump.
They were there.
And I'm like, this is great. And you had to cut the slack.
Oh yeah, like we had paid. We hired like 20 actors.
That was one of my favorite things that you did.
You know what I didn't get video, but I wish I did behind the scenes is while we were doing it, we were really getting into it. We were in the street, and then man, they have like FBI type security guards.
Because they're like, oh right.
I knew what they thought we were, but they came right up there like, no, we're shutting this shit down. No. And
that'd have been great content.
Dude, I know. I think we all got scanned, and we like and they made us put the cameras down. Like, hey, so we put the cameras down. And they really like walked us a mile away from the whole vending. Like you guys are
the best thing. If you would have been able to position that to like, listen, Salesforce, they still pulled us and did this just because they couldn't.
They beat us. I hit you. I thought about making a play on them. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna. At this point, it's not worth it. They didn't ban us, but I think they didn't ban us. They knew that we were good enough to like. Had they banned us, I'd have hit every PR firm there is. I'd let everyone know that store.
What was the idea behind that? How did you say, you know what, screw it? What about because so many businesses, you're either a bitcomer, and it's not about like what side of the fence you guys play on. Let's say you support all companies. ClickUp is a platform. It started like it's like my first board is like the Kavanaugh house. Yeah, it's like my first board.
I love the one that take care of their family and because it works. Because it can be a simple check. It can be a simple checklist if you want. It can support IBM if you want. We go.
And that's the thing is like you have that like range. So it is for everybody. And because you are able to support so many people like brands like that are actually like, oh my God, I gotta like check every spelling on every piece of content and God forbid they muffle things or words. What made you go like, all right, I'm gonna be a little bit contrarian. I know the social space. How do I actually put this in the market? And did you have any friction or was it just full adoption?
No, the full funny part is that our CEO Zeb was the one who kind of said, I want to do something like this. Yeah, Zeb's pretty wild too. That's what I love. He's not afraid to try things. And that's the ClickUp ethos. We kind of always been that.
Well, dude, you're the underdog that basically supported now new underdogs that are up.
Exactly. We like to do the crazy things. So the idea behind it was, okay, all of our target market is going to be at this conference. You're all there. So the back end I don't think I told this more on podcast, so I'm glad I'm telling you now. The real back end of the strategy, it wasn't just about the boycott. There's way more going on. So one, yes, we did a boycott, but that got attention. I got all the reviews in it. But two, you're running ads as well. When all the billboards saying cut the slack. So we have billboards there. 3, we're running targeted ads, because think about it. Now, all of our target market is in one little radius. So you can run a target ad with way higher conversion as rest of do with the same message. So now you see the message of ad, you've seen on a billboard, and you've heard about our crazy stunt. Now, what better way? Because now imagine I just did a thing, saying, hey, look up in this chat, give a slide. Maybe we get 50,000, 100,000, million views. This one got 60 million. It's
Crazy. I was like 30 million with them like that first. I mean, crazy as went nuts.
So that play was way better, and it got people talking. That's our play. So now, because our goal wasn't that day to just show the features, all we want people to know is, hey, you don't have to use Slack, but you just don't have to. And if you don't want to, here's another.
And the last thing that businesses that are trying to scale, you need, in order to scale, you need speed. And most people, what happens is they slow down at a stoplight because they're trying to like not be so jokey. But what in reality in business, when you get to certain break points, you have to accelerate the break. And most people are scared to do that. So I think that when you have a single source of truth, number one, everything's together. You're not moving things into compartments. And with today's technology, you don't need to have as much saps and makes and connections but like you don't need to duct tape everything where it's like in this can of filter. You could create a single source of truth in the speed that slows down most businesses, in my opinion, is the speed of communication. 100%. And that's exactly what ClickUp does, which is it has speed to communication regarding the chat function, but it's speed to communication of where the project is limited.
And dude, so while we're on this time, I'm going to give you, we can't release this part until maybe another week or so, but I'll give you the first. As you've been a long-time ClickUp user, you've been using us for years, we have 4.0 coming out in about 10 days. So I don't know if you've seen 4.0 yet.
I'm aware because you got brain is insane.
Brain's saying, what's up? ClickUp 4.0, by the time we put this out, ClickUp 4.0 will be out. And the big difference in 4.0 is one, speed. Like we've heard everyone, we know we gotta get speed down, so we really took time to focus on the craft, the quality. Zed has barely been sleeping. He's been flying the engineering team out to stay at his house. You know, who else does that, man? Like hackathons are insane. They're doing the hackathon. These guys are leaving their families to come put in work for a week, which I love because, you know, we don't ask anyone to come to the office, but to bring them in, to have passion. Obviously, we have great food, we play pickleball, we play basketball, we do cool things together. It's like brings us closer. But we grind to the late hours, but Zed's been pushing, making sure 4.0 is perfect. It's been a beautiful thing to see the team come out. So I can't wait for everyone to have 4.0. All your whole feed, your chat, everything is right there together. Hub, I can't wait for everyone to see it because I don't want to say too much on the air. But the new version of 4.0, absolutely insane, way faster. And yeah, by the time it comes out, we'll put it out. See?
Yeah, I remember I started to use, so we go back to like the relationship side. I've started to use ClickUp now as like my personal CRM of just, hey, give me an update on like the last time I communicated with questions. Because we use that in our business with client management as like, hey, give me the last 30-day update or the last 6-month update with this customer and any risk or concerns that we have. And it pulls in all of the information, ClickUp Brainbase, when it connects all of those dots and gives the project manager, the BDO that's managing that account, that's the client success, is able to say, hey, all right, well, here's the red flags, here's the things we're concerned, or let me look into this. These things don't add up because everything's in this kind of, box, and it's connected to the actual interactions with like meetings and everything else, bringing in there. It's like you're taking all the transcriptions and it's like feeding, so it's getting smarter every day and learning a language.
Every single time, that's the big advantage. Obviously, I'm biased, but like it would be, I should make a video on this. It'd be so hard to just keep giving GPT, keep giving all your docs and over and different chats. So for ClickUp, you never have to do that, right? With Brain, right, Max, all you have to do is just start talking to it, and as well as your meeting notes, like if me and you had a meeting together, I can say, okay, what did Justin and I talk about like last Tuesday? It pulls it right there, right? So it's just so much faster, so much easier. But the real advantage of ClickUp is having context of your work. So it knows what you're working on, knows how you talk, it knows how you move, it knows what tasks are coming up. It knows all of this, so it can pull the data from them rather than you to give it every single time. Then bring it it's just there.
No, for those that don't know this, you guys in Zeb will work. So I want to acknowledge two things. Number one, Zeb will go into like headphone baby rocker mode and locked in, do something, and then pop out with like, here's my thinking thoughts, right? And then there's like something that he's working on. He's still doing that today. You are still doing this level of work today. I mean, look, you just hit 300, million ARR. Why are you still working the same way you did when it was like, shit, $3,000 payroll is going to be a pain in the ass right now. Can we cover this based on this expense to now 300 million? You're working harder right now.
Definitely hard.
Why?
Job's not done, man. Job's not done. We gotta go public. That's the mission. That is what we're climbing and fighting towards every single day. We didn't start this to not get this far, right? Secondly, I remember in the early days thinking to ourselves, like, oh, we get 100 employees, it'll be easy. We get 1,000 employees, just hard. Just bigger gains, right? So I think Biggie was always right. More money, more problems. But at the same time, I think
more money, better problems. No money, more
problems.
Exactly.
The beauty for us is that we kind of changed the mindset on problems. Like, we're not afraid of problems because problems, we get to solve problems, right? Because every problem we solve puts us farther ahead of our competition. So we don't mind the problem. Problems come, we just got really excited to solve them. So I think we changed our mindset on problems. And to answer your bigger goal, 300 million is good, but man, we're looking at $1 billion. You know, we want to do that.
You're there now. Like you're there. You're the track to what? Because the reason why I could say this confidently now is just like you've been able to put on people. Because I'd see people that you'd supported in a creator space and leverage like, hey, make up some content for ClickUp, and then we'll put. Then you like kind of like wash the other, you shake this person's hand and hook them up because they do some content. And then you're like, all right, cool, I'll put you on it by being on your platform. The best creators that make ClickUp content end up popping off. And I look at like, forget the guy's iCam or something. He does all the AI content now of me. Where he was doing all the ClickUp stuff. And it's like he's built a business as Jose Band. No, Joe's another one. I love Joe. Joe's crazy, but he's nuts, right? Because Joe's literally like his feed is just crazy.
Joe Smart Click is my idea. He's trying to figure out his brand. What he can do is that guy can do that.
From automation table, but you've built out some people. Is it a black guy? Forget his name.
Oh, that guy's awesome.
Yeah, and he's great at doing like hey, here's the AI thing that changed everything.
He's in the AI space.
Yeah, but he's blown up his own brand because of like actually doing videos directly.
Or breaking. Now I gotta think of who that is. I'll gotta find out. So I mean, which is really, I got more creators coming out. So I'm always finding new creators.
And then the thing too that is fascinating, it's not just the work ethic that you have in Twitter. You guys were in AI before AI popped.
Oh yeah.
So people don't realize that because they're all like, oh, it's just a wrapper. But like ClickUp's is as a whole, and what you guys were doing, were in the AI space. We long before, chat or vlog or press, all these that started to actually palm off. You guys were in it well.
Even in the early days, I remember Zeb called it. And like, Zeb's been pretty good at predicting the tech future. And one of the things he said was, there's going to be a world in which AI will be a big part of your project map. So like, guessing which task is next and creating it for you. Now I'm seeing it live today. I wish we filmed everything back then, because I know he was talking. Like, he's literally saying like, this is what it's going to be. We were trying to build it like, damn, this is hard. Now with OpenAI today, it's a lot easier. But before all that came out, like, it was hard to figure out. But we wanted to, we knew it'd be a big cabal. It just makes sense.
So what's next for you, both in the content side of things, the business? Where is Chris going? As you have so many things you can do, and you are in a place where you have to say more to things.
Gotta say no.
But there are scenarios where it's like, I want to say less, and you have in my opinion, you do have the luxury of perspective because you've seen so many things to what you can say.
Number one is speaking on stage. If anyone, I love to speak on stage. I've really trained myself. Like, I crush it on stage. As I said, you do. So I love it. It's my passion. So that's like number one. I wonder if I'm going to give you all the circuit. I want to move on up. Number two for me is I will be the content guy in B2B. I want everyone to think of me when I think up to the best content B2B. So I'll keep pushing the boundaries. I'll keep testing new strategies. I will be at the forefront of that every single way.
So I think that a couple of things like in the industries kind of collapse and then they expand. They collapse and they expand. It's the same thing with like sports, right? What happens is while everyone's not working, you're still worker. And then when it explodes, you become like, what happened to this guy? The next season he shines. I think that you've taken that whole B2C approach to B2V because we know that personal brands grow 10, 20 times faster than a business brand. And what you're finding is the personalities that highlight the features instead of always just selling the features. 100%. And that's why you're so good at it.
Oh man, you just gave me a good idea for folks. Just gave me a good idea. Actually, it'd be really cool about each influencer to talk about each idea, for each new feature. That's a cool idea. I like. So I'm taking them.
Well, there's so many features. I think obviously, like ClickUp HR. It's fucking.
Yeah, the HR guy is hilarious.
But again, you do this. You put a lot of people on, and you don't ask for anything. No, because you're like this idea of like together everyone achieves more. The concept of team. But you truly embody that on a day-to-day basis.
You know what I feel good about is I told this afters. Like I just got them on my own, and I was like, I had this opportunity. I'm not gonna pay as much at first. I gotta prove this out to my company, right? Like it's very hard to go to the board and say, yo, I need $15K a month to pay out 2 actors to twerk and act crazy. And they're like, what is this guy talking about? Look. On the tape. They would never understand it. But I'm like, let me prove it out. We pay you his contract, and I promise you, if this all hits like I think it can, I'll pay you full time. And I'm about to full time working, doing great. So I take a lot of pride in it. And now they work extra hard for me. I'm true to my word. So of course I had to go above and beyond. And that's now I got to raise the goals. Now we got to hit 300 million impressions in a month. We got to do it. So we'll figure it out. And I'm always trying. I'm bringing in new actors now. I guess it's a whole operation. I absolutely love the operation of having a blast. I can't think of anything else I'd rather do it. Damn, let them know.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, one thing that I do on every episode is when I ask you, like, I truly believe that God put us on this earth to do or to do that. I'm a big believer in this. And, you know, I have a great coaching eye. I see things that most people don't see. I'm able to catch things early. It's one of my gifts. Like, I could be like, boom, that's going to win. And I remember being in rooms and be like, guys, you're using Trello. It's limited. It's great because it's so basic. But you want to be where that is. But, like, you don't want that thing to be the thing that holds you back. Exactly. It's like, that's not going to get you to a point. So the hardest thing for a lot of businesses is to drive a wedge between this gain to leave. They don't want to leave a platform. And it's like, you got to drive a wedge between that. What happens is the softlers drive a wedge for your growth. So they're basically grips on it. And it's like, I knew early on, like, guys, ClickUp is not rendered. Literally, the damn things are listed. It doesn't work. It's all over the place. I'm damn blind, so I can't see in contrast. I'm losing my mind. You know, like, Chris, man.
ClickUp 1.0 was tough.
Help me out.
Yeah, I think you actually used ClickUp 1.0. That's
You're 2017. That's like
it was hard for us.
a 10.
We had to use it too. I was like, man, this is rough.
But I'm like, wait a second. Like, number one, do you believe? Number two, do you believe in the people, right? So it's like, dude, are you betting the jockey or are you betting the bush? You're betting both, right? It's like you want the DNA, but you also want the intuition of the actual jockey that kind of ride that. And I will say, you guys got the jockey and the horse and the trainer right. And now Underdog is so much further along. Like, the other platforms are old. It's crazy. They're
Archaic. They're not innovative. It's not innovating. Trello. I mean, you know, Trello gets bought. I get it. But yes, they're not innovative.
Yeah, I know, but they're archaic. They're literally Microsoft DOS is great they are today, and they're like, oh, we have this AI feature now. It's like, wait a sec.
Just wrapped up GPT. Reevaluate agents. How we more coming out. I guess I can tell. Agents coming out. We could just tag them, go right in. It's insane. So that's coming out in the next 46 weeks.
So I talk about the superpower that I truly believe God gave us, and the way I position a superpower is, what is the one thing that you have that if I gave it to somebody else, but based on their life circumstances, it'd be $1 billion asset that I could sell. And for me, people tell me all the time, it's like, Cav, you're confident. It's like, how you do what you do with the confidence of walking in the Olympics and doing this, and then, hey, have you done it before? It's no, but we're gonna win. Yeah. But we're still gonna figure it out. And then my level of like delusion as a pro is unreal. You know, I have a lot of reality of like, all right, I got my ass kicked today, but I'm delusional about what I can accomplish. That's a super. You can't teach that. And if I gain that to somebody else based upon their skill sets, it's $1 billion gift. What is your like superpower?
I think you highlighted mine earlier, man. I have the power to meet, to somehow make people like me, whatever you want to call it. Like, I would call it to get to gab. I can talk to anyone. I can be interested in them. I can learn from them. And I can stay in touch with it. And my brain can remember them at the right time and connect them to the right people. So I'd say I'm just a super connector. I do it with ease. I don't do it with any expectations. I don't do it with wanting anything back. I just do it for fun. And then if there does come a time where I want something back, it's very easy to ask. Like, hey, man, I've already done probably 3 or 4 things for you. Do you mind doing this one thing? It's always a yes. It's never a no. So I think it's my superpower. The superpower of ClickUp, I think, was being scrappy. I think that we were reckless in trying everything we could. I'd say that was Zeb. You mix all of our crew together. The thing is that we were not afraid to try everything. We were not afraid to fail. And we were not afraid to just do weird things. I think there's being passionate. And there's something about, your mind is a very powerful thing, right? So there's something about waking up every day. It's a very common thing. You've heard Dog, introvert, everyone say, but you find a way to actually be obsessed. So we were obsessed with making ClickUp work because that was our last move. That was money left, right? So we were obsessed. So I think finding a way to make yourself become obsessed. You're not just going to tell yourself every day, oh, I'm going to win, I'm going to win. You have to like actually find a way to make it a part of your life. Like, my life might not be as good if I don't get this done. You know, like I might look back when I'm 80 as a failure if I don't get this done. And then you start being a little more relentless. So I think that's a superpower. You can trick yourself into anger, into fear, whatever emotion you need to be so obsessed with what you're doing. That's what you got to fix up.
You look at kind of like superheroes. I call it like building a super brain. It's this idea that like every superhero, because I have like a team of Avengers around me. Yeah, we're all like great team. But how do I do that? I find it was like every superhero has something that they stand for. So there's something they stand against, and there's like this human flaw. So for instance, like your stand for, ClickUp stands for being able to provide enterprise solutions with the fastest AI platforms, keeping a single source of truth, whether you're big or small at scale, and collapsing speed. you know, you stand against basically probably, you know, unproductivity. Yeah, right? Like 100%. You like confusion or people hiding.
So I will say this, like in businesses, people can hide in Slack. Oh yeah, you could have a 100-person team. You're just hiding. You could hide something.
Or you can be that person who just tags people in but doesn't actually do the work. Yeah, those are people I don't like though.
Oh my God, yeah.
The taggers, like, oh, you should do this here, do this here. So you can do something.
But it looks like you did a lot of stuff.
Looks like you
because you're tagging a bunch of people and your name's popping up. You're not doing anything. Yeah. So that's like what you stand against. You know, what's your flaw? What's Chris's flaw?
My flaw, organization. I think I'm not the best. Ironically enough, like I'm good at being organized inside of ClickUp, but outside of it, and I think it's my flaw that I found a way to fix, right? Because Zeb was one showing me this. It's like a lot of times there's a million things I want to do every day, right? So I start attacking. But what I've had to learn to do is slow down and say, okay, that's why I set reminders in ClickUp, because it's easy for me to forget. I want to do 1,000 things every day.
Time blocking in ClickUp is one of the most powerful features.
You use that AI feature and say, okay, I have these 8 things to do today. Can you block it for me? It works really well. So I block my calendar all the time. That way I go, okay, I'm gonna work on this. We'll work on this. That's been a beauty for me. So naturally, I'm not very organized, but thanks to ClickUp, I can be enough to work with my crazy ass way of loop. That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is awesome. You know, here we are. I'm in a conference. Just hit me up on Instagram. Yo, I'm coming through.
He's the man. I'm gonna do it, man.
I'm gonna swipe that watch off him.
That's good to see you. Appreciate it.